Hi everyone, welcome back to the Salt and Sauce podcast. We're very much up and running in the season now, so lots to cover today. We'll do our usual shout out for our sponsor before we get started. Rob, do you want to give Mintbox a wee shout out?
Yeah, so mint box removals, anyone doing any moves, house moves, office moves, they're one of the top businesses about, as we've mentioned them on the pod before. Very well thought of, and they moved footballers up and down the country. So give them a shout, and their details are on the screen.
Thank you very much, Rob. Yeah, thanks. So we'll start off. We're recording this on Sunday. Both our teams were in action earlier today. I actually made it up to Tannadice. I imagine obviously you're in Dublin. Sundays are a bit less convenient for you, but you managed to catch the Hibs game. So we'll come on to that in a little bit. But we'll start off with the Dundee United game, and what a game that must have been for the neutral. This will sound familiar to you, Robert. Going 1-0 up, going 2-1 behind, bringing it back to 2-2, and then winning with a last minute header. I know you've got good memories of that from
I do.
the Hibs in 2016. Um, but yeah, so that's what happened. But I thought we were again, we've got a bit of a pattern with most of our games, including in the League Cup, where we start really, really well and then just drift a little bit. But ultimately, we're getting the result in the end. That's us got 10 wins in a row in competitive games. Okay, four of them were against the bottom six last season after the split, four of them in the League Cup. But since we started the league, we beat Aberdeen and we beat Dundee United, two of the better teams last season. And the other games you can only beat what you're up against. So I don't think there's any team that would complain at 10 wins in a row, regardless of the opposition. So we've got to be happy with that. But looking at today's game, yeah, again, started well. Had a few really good chances. Milne was doing great down the left. Braga, loads of energy. Shankland was just doing his usual clever play, getting in good positions. And it just looked great. And then the goal was coming. It came through a penalty in the end. I mean, for me, it's a definite penalty. Arms around him and he drags him back. It's Finlay that actually gets fouled, who we'll talk about later on. Um, so yeah, pretty easy decision, and Shanklin tucks it away. And even if it is a pen, just any goal that Shanklin get that just gets him in that habit of scoring goals, as you know yourself, I know you love a goal scorer. Um, Aye, invaluable that. Um, but literally 3 minutes later, they're back in. I thought it was at first I thought it was a soft foul. Looking back at it, I mean it probably is a foul. And you know what was it? Tam Cowan said a soft boiled egg is still a boiled egg, and so it is still a free kick. Um, and then it's a good free kick. I think Clark could do better. I think his footwork's pretty poor getting over to it, and then he gets a hand to it. And I'm not saying you should save everything you get a hand to, but I thought he could have done better. That said, it is a decent strike. So fair enough. You're at 1-1 at this point. I saw it again just on Sports Scene there. But the second goal was for them. It puts them 2-1 up. Is poor from Clark. I've never been. I think he's good, but I've never been like massively convinced by Clark. If we were to get another top quality keeper in, or Gordon was to get fit, I'd be quite happy about that. But it was really poor. He's clearly off balance, and it's a bit sort of flappy handsky as again he gets the hand to it, but it still goes in. It's goal check again. He got both the Dundee United goals. So that was that was really frustrating to lose goals like that. Again, he strikes it well enough, but you know, I dare say a good keeper catches it. Never mind, puts it around the post. So that was disappointing to be 2-1 down at half time when I thought we really had the better of the half. We still had two or three chances. I think we had something like 10 shots on goal in the first half, four or five of them on target. So it definitely felt winnable. The one thing I would say about Dundee United and Jim Goodwin though is it was, I mean, they were camped in their box. You've seen, I know you like teams like that sometimes, Robert. It's hard to break that down, and especially when we've got players who are still getting to know each other. So whilst we weren't necessarily creating masses of chances, we were definitely the team on the front foot in the second half. But they were just camped in, and they were time wasting with about 40 minutes to go. Um, they were. players getting injured off the pitch and then rolling back on the pitch, all the dark arts you can think of, and it was getting quite frustrating. Anything to just break up the flow of the game. But Derek McInnes has spoken a lot about set pieces. We've got the guy Ross Grant as a set piece coach, which is a bit of a bit woke, but whatever. And but it's working. The penalty comes from a set piece. We then get Stuart Finlay equalises with a brilliant header. I mean, he's reaching, he's leaning back and really having all the neck muscles into it. And I was the perfect angle from the stand I was in. You could just see it, almost a header that curls into the top corner. It was brilliant. So that's 2-2, and you're thinking, do you know what? A point away to Tannadice, it's not a disaster. There'll be teams who get far worse results up there. But I do think we were worthy of the win. Because I just think we had more about us. We were on the front foot more. Um, and then we had a couple of good chances. There was admittedly a deflection shot from Kyrgios making his debut. That the keeper put around the post. Finlay had a header just before he scored the winner. That again, it was blocked by a guy on the line, went out for a corner. So we were getting lots of chances there. And then Kizarides takes pretty much the final corner of the game, puts it in, and I think it's a really clever header from Finlay. He's beyond the front post and he just glances it into the far side. And this is a guy that's got, I think, 4 goals in 5 years. He's now got 4 goals in 6 games. It's just brilliant. I mean, he's a good player, Finlay. He is really, really good. I don't know how much of this was Jamestown analytics or McInnes just saying, look, this is one signing that I'm going above the model on. I don't really care at the minute because he's playing really well. He's settled in nicely. He's a big, tall boy, strong, good in the air, and he's getting goals at the minute. And I know you've been in a few boisterous away ends yourself, Robert, but the away end's more fun. And as I've said this to you on a number of occasions. I think the way you won the cup against Rangers is better than the way we won the cup against you. Because actually, the last half hour was quite boring, but the last minute header, pandemonium in the stands. So yeah, we had so that was great and really nice to get the trip up there and to play. I would say quite well. Get the 3 points, 6 out of 6. Absolutely delighted. And as we'll come on to in a little bit, it was also really nice because there was a point I was checking the Hibs score on my phone, partly from the local rivalry, but more from the fact that you are I'd say our biggest rivals in the league. Um, we were 2-1 down and you were 2-0 up, and I thought, oh Jesus, here what a nightmare. And as we'll come on to in a second, it couldn't have gone much better after that from a Hearts point of view. Um, so yeah, delighted. I don't know if you caught the game or if you were just keeping up with the result as it went along, or sorry, caught the highlights.
I got the highlights. I was trying to watch the game, the Hibs game that is, on the worst stream I've ever had in my life. Kept buffering every 30 seconds and then it would skip and it was like a goal. So I had to go back and watch the highlights. So that wasn't great. So the Hearts game, I just watched the highlights of just before the pod. But I always read what the journalists say and things as well as obviously people online.
Yeah, yeah,
And Hearts seemed worthy of their win. And it's a tough start Hearts have had, home to Aberdeen, away to Dundee United, a new team. So, I obviously hate to say it, but credit where credit's due. They're two tough teams to play, one home, one away. And the bottom line is for Hearts and for Hibs, really, 3 points. And
yeah.
this is where McInnes' experience will come in. And that's what I said to you about the McInnes signing. He may not set the world on fire, but what he will do is he'll grind those out. Like that was last year. You would have went on to lose that. Or even, seasons past, you would have got a draw. Okay, not the worst result. He can find a way to turn those draws into a win and as I said, the defeats into a draw. He just seems to be able to always do that. He's had Hibs' number on countless occasions with Kilmarnock, with the worst team, where they always seem to be able to either get a draw or like to win it themselves. So it's very positive for Hearts right now that they've no European football to worry about. They can
Yeah.
just concentrate on the league. And as I said, you've got to, okay, the matches before everyone was saying that the test will be the league. Well, you've had a great start.
And you mentioned a good point there. I think not having Europe Obviously it's a bit of a gutter. You'd like to have it, but with Aberdeen they're going to have group stage football. Dundee United might, Hibs might, Rangers will have something, and even look, I'm not going to get ahead of myself, but Celtic will have that too. We're the only team out of that probable top six that don't have that. So you've got to take your advantages where you get them. Um, and even if, you're probably looking at most of those teams or all of them being knocked out by Christmas or not long after. Even if we just have a better first half of the season than most of them, then great, and then just keep them at arm's length the rest of the season. Um, I'm sure as a Hibs fan, you'd be quite happy if Hibs did that.
Of course, and that's what it's all about. It's points on the board.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think that's fair. Yeah, I'm glad to hear a lot of the journalists were saying Hearts are deserved winners.
Yeah,
I think a one goal margin is fair. That's accurate. But a win's a win.
absolutely, absolutely.
So obviously part of my delight from today was Hearts doing that, but there was also a little bit of a wry smile at Easter Road. How, as a Hibs fan, your thoughts?
Crazy, really crazy. The first half was one of the best we've seen under Gray, and the second half was probably the worst. That's the way to sum it up. It was like the team that we've been over the past few months turned up in the first half, were in control, and then lapse in concentration, poor defending, and we got punished.
Hmm.
Fair play to Kilmarnock. They didn't just park the bus, they had a goal. But we just kind of outplayed them in the first half. We were full of energy. We get our goal. McGrath sends it in.
What a ball!
It was a great ball in. I was like, he's fizzing this in.
Yeah,
But then Rocky just smashes it in. Bashiri again.
I know.
You'd a joke that 20 goals a season, he's on for it.
Yeah, yeah, and we've got Finlay, you've got Bashiri, and
Yeah,
who needs Shankland or I forget the striker you.
boiler baby.
Yeah, exactly. Um,
But
I wanted to say one thing on that quickly. I agree. Everything I read was that Hibs had the much better the first half. But
mm,
it's funny. It's similar to what I said about Aberdeen there. Killie still hit the post, and
yeah,
you know what I mean. And I know they scored just before half time. It goes to show you just how fragile Leeds are, and really you're always wanting that third goal to kill it.
absolutely, absolutely. But I thought 2-0 was the least we deserved at halftime. But again, you switch off and you get punished. So I'll just quickly touch on the second goal. Hoylett's through, picks out Johan brilliantly. If only he'd done that against Midtjylland. But anyway, picks Johan out. And to be fair to Johan, it's a good finish, kind of through the keeper's legs. I always say if you finish it from there, it's a good finish. I don't care how it goes in.
I think it was a good goal. I mean,
Uh,
what brilliant pass, and
yeah,
I think good goal. Yeah.
yeah. So you're thinking 2-0 and then the sucker punch comes to 2-1, but you're still thinking we're so much in control here that it's a matter of time before we get the third and probable fourth.
Yeah.
But the second half comes and we just don't turn up.
Was that the whole? I mean, I only saw the
Pretty
highlights.
much.
Whole of the
We
second
did
half.
nothing. We did nothing in that second half. Killie were keeping the ball better. We were giving it away, slack passes. They looked like a threat. And as I said, they got their second goal. Absolute peach of a goal. Smith should save it.
Oh,
He should save it.
no way.
No, I'm sorry. A taller keeper saves that.
So you think Gordon gets it?
I think Gordon saves that. Absolutely.
Agree to disagree on that one. I thought it was.
Just have a look back at it and see how close it is
Well,
to him.
I've only seen the couple of highlights
Yeah.
on.
And look, it's a great strike. I'm not
Well, it
saying
is.
it's
Yeah.
a great strike. It's a phenomenal strike. But I just think the keeper should do better there.
Fair enough.
And I think Smith looked dodgy all game today. He was unsure. His kicking was awful, gifting them opportunities. Rocky switched off for one of their goals as well. We just kind of were all over the place, and I think Gray got his tactics wrong second half as well. As I said, we brought on Campbell. We need a goal. It's 2-2. What are we doing? We've a record striker on the bench who's clearly not ready. Gray does not think that he's up to it, obviously.
Why is he on the bench?
I
Like,
don't understand. Now, I
surely
think
the whole.
I did read one thing, and Gray wants to settle him into Scottish football and just settle him into the country, but Hearts have a whole host of new players as well that have been thrown in the deep end, and that's just what you need to do. If you're good enough, get them on. We
Most
need
of
points, we
them.
need goals. Why are we putting Campbell on when we have a striker there?
But my thought is, well, one, he's a striker. Two, if he's on the bench, he's obviously fit enough. And that is how you break someone in, like give them the last 20 minutes. I can't see him like costing you a goal as a striker. It's different if it's a centre half,
Yeah.
but he might go on and get you a goal
Yeah.
or whatever. It's certainly more likely than Josh Campbell.
And this is a problem when Bowie was he blew a gasket, Bowie, with about 20 minutes to go. He had nothing left. Again, he had a good game, by the way,
Yeah.
but he was knackered. He's put a lot into the last few games, and
Having not played for a long
having
time.
not played, that was a chance to put our record signing on for the last 20 and see if he could give us something or get us a goal because we didn't look like creating a thing. And for all Campbell will chip in with the odd goal now and again, he's not
Oh,
going to create anything.
yeah.
So I thought Gray got his tactics wrong second half.
Because of the way it happened, I know this will seem like a crazy question to ask after whatever it was, half an hour, whenever you're 2-0 up. But are you quite happy you got away with a point? And the only reason I say that is I've only seen the highlights, but it was Stuart Kettlewell was on the radio saying, obviously I'm delighted to come back, but I'm actually quite disappointed we didn't go on and win it.
They could have won it. They could have won it from that second half showing, which is a disgrace, really.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be too negative because, as I said, it's a point.
Mm.
It's not a good point for us. We lose ground on Hearts. We don't capitalise on Rangers dropping points either. I
Yeah.
think Hibs and Hearts need to be able to capitalise when Rangers do drop points. If what we said at the end of our last pod is going to happen, and one of us or both of us are going to mount a serious challenge, you have to capitalise on Rangers dropping points.
And do you think, I've it frustrated me for a couple of seasons with Hearts, with that being a Sunday game post Europe, is that any reason as to why Hibs threw away a 2-goal lead?
Possibly, it's hard to say that are the players tired without obviously having inside knowledge, but I just thought we could have rotated those attacking players a bit more for this game
Mm.
and maybe even brought Bowie on for the last half hour.
Yeah, yeah.
Start him, you know. We brought Boyle on, but again, we if you've got the attacking players in place, you have to give them service. And in that second half, it was a disgrace, really.
Mm.
But as I said, I don't want to be too negative because we've had a great run. It's not a defeat. We're only 2 points off the top. We're in Europe. Our squad is stretched. And I think it just highlights we need one or two more bodies in, particularly if we get group stage football. We will
Oh,
not be able to cope with the league and the Thursday game. I think that kind of highlights that.
you've probably got at least well, I mean, you've almost definitely got at least three more European games. Are you a bit worried that you actually might end up losing not a lot of ground because it's only three games, but that could be 10 points. Maybe a bit dramatic, but 8 points even.
It's a worry. It's a worry. I think it helps that it's the League Cup this
Oh,
weekend.
yeah, 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 okay,
So
fair enough.
that's one of the games, and then we need to see how we get on if we do get through. And I'm saying if because if we play like that, if we defend like we did at times today,
Right.
Partizan could easily take 3-4 off us. They're not going to let us off the hook as often as Killie did.
Well, I'll actually use that to jump into the Partizan game, unless you have anything else to say about the Killie game, but I imagine you're quite happy to move on
No,
from
I'm
it.
quite happy.
Yeah. But I this, obviously I'll let you have more to say for this game, and obviously phenomenal result for Hibs. I thought they were really bad, Partizan. From a football point of view, I thought they were poor, and from the discipline point of view, I mean, the guy committing that foul when he's already on a yellow. I mean,
Crazy.
what on earth? If someone does that as Sunday League, you're going, mate, you're an
Mm,
idiot. To do
mm,
that in a Europa Conference qualifier
yeah,
is mind-boggling. I was we spoke about them having a bit of pedigree,
yeah.
and this sounds like a Hearts fan maybe taken away from Hibs. I thought
Mm,
they did exactly what you needed to do, and
mm,
a brilliant result. I just thought I was really disappointed in them.
yeah. They were poor, but we also made them look poor. And what I would say is we played our cards exactly the way they had to be played because it was a very intimidating atmosphere. it was very hot as well
Yeah.
over there, apparently. It was very, very humid and high temperatures. And considering the pedigree of the team we're playing, I know we're saying they played poor. We were excellent. That has to be it's the best away result in Europe I've ever experienced as a Hibs fan.
Really? Hmm.
I can't think of a better one really.
Well, I don't know Hibs as well as you do. Obviously, it's just the only reason I say that is it's quite a big statement.
Yeah, but
And it is a great result, and I understand it being up there. It's just that's
yeah,
a big statement, obviously.
I can't think of
Mm,
another one where we've actually gone away and you know, beating a team which on paper should be better than Hibs.
mm.
Um,
Well, and I agree with you. Um, we could talk about them being poor. We could talk about them being down to 10 men. Hibs did what they should have done,
yeah,
and did what they needed to do to get out with a clean sheet and a couple of goals.
yeah,
And I thought Boyle ran them well
yeah,
on like even on the counter attack a lot,
yeah.
or Bowie was holding it up well, defended solidly enough. I couldn't really fault Hibs' display. Which,
What about the human torpedo, Smith? You see the
oh,
head? That was brilliant. I was like doubled up laughing.
the first time I saw it, I thought he punched it, and I was like, has he misjudged his box?
Yeah,
Just and it was maybe the stream that I had for it, but yeah, it was
it
incredible.
was so funny. The ball went like so far, but
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it was really good timing
he
of
did
things.
well.
And what I would say about, I know we're giving out about Rocky and stuff today, but he put his body on the line as well at important parts. And it was great to see a Hibs team really putting everything on the line to get us the result that we did. And unlike today, Gray was kind of faultless in his tactics.
Mm,
So maybe it was a bit of the players tiring today, but that result away was hopefully a real statement of this is what you can do. This is what you can do. This is how you can upset the odds. You can play as a team. We posed a threat the whole game, and we defended well when they were throwing everything at us as well.
mm. No, no. Listen, fair enough. And as you did with Hearts earlier, I'll put my hands up and say well done, Hibs. That was a great result, and although I was more impressed with the performance than the result, and I thought the result was great, just
Mm.
because I thought you got it so right. It's exactly what you should do in a game like that. So fair play. Um, it brings us on to the second leg. Um, and based on last week's evidence, Hibs struggle against 11 men. So how do you think how do you think you'll get on? And a two-goal lead as well.
Again, like the first leg, Stuart, I don't know. I'd love to come on and say I'm really confident that we're going to go through. I think the first goal is going to be huge in the game, as it always is. If you're 2-0 up in 90 minutes, never mind from the first leg, but they are going to throw everything at us. So is the defense from Thursday night going to turn up or the defense from today? Do you know what I mean? You just don't know. So I think this is very much in the balance. I've read a few things which is concerning online about Hibs fans booking for the next round in Norway already. I think that's very, very premature. I think this tie is still very, very live. If they get an early goal and we start with the misplaced passes, they will punish us. Even though they're not the Partizan Belgrade of the past, maybe they have players that will hurt us. So
So I was just going to say you've mentioned Gray's tactics a couple of times. Looking ahead to the game, and this it's a difficult one to answer. You're 2-0, and it's people talk about it being half time in the tie, but people always talk about 2-0 at half time as like do you go for a third? Do you sit in and defend it? This is a bit different because you need to do that for 90 minutes. What would you do?
I would probably try and kill the game off as quick as we can. It's going to be another sellout on Thursday night. Get right at them and try and get that third goal, that will kill the tie off if we score early, and they'll probably just start taking bodies in and get another player sent off because they are hatchet men. I love
Oh yeah, yeah,
hatchet
yeah.
men, but like they were no messing.
They
But
were they were quite a young team from what I was reading and like quite inexperienced, and I think that showed. And I would agree if you were to go 3-0 up, I would be. I would be taking the likes of Boyle off, and
Yeah, save their legs.
they'll snap them. Yeah, exactly.
But if they get the first goal, even if that comes in the second half, it's gonna be a nervy affair. So I think this is very much still in the balance.
I mean, if they're yeah, you're right. If they're 1-0 up with 10 minutes to go, I mean, that is
Anything can happen. But
super
I
tough.
would say if I had to pick, I'd say we'll go through. But I think whatever happens, it's going to be very, very tight. It wouldn't it wouldn't surprise me if it was extra time and penalties. It wouldn't surprise me if, they go 2-0 up.
Yeah.
I I I I just don't know.
Similarly, wouldn't surprise you if you win 4-0 in aggregate.
No. Well, it might. It might. It might surprise me. I think they will pose more of a threat than they did in the first leg, and they have to go for it. And we all know a wounded animal is the most dangerous.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're right. They either do go for it and they're brilliant, or they try to go for it and they get picked off and suddenly
And
it's
that's the thing. We are best when we're a counter-attacking team. We're never at our best when we have to sit in. When we are on the counter-attack, we've got blistering pace. And I just think, hopefully, they throw the kitchen sink at us early, and that leaves space for the likes of Bowie, Boyle, Hoylett if he plays. But we players that can really hurt them.
so head and heart saying Hibs go through.
I think we go through.
Yeah. I realize you're not promising it or guaranteeing it.
I'm not.
You're just saying it. And of course you're 2-0 up from an away leg. Um Logic would dictate that you probably go through from there. Yeah, fair enough. Well, good luck to you. Not too much luck, but good luck to yous on Thursday. Um Even if it just means you're tired for a few weeks. Yeah,
Mm,
that'd be good. Um right, so the game you'll have after that then. You're obviously in League Cup action with Livingston.
away to Livy.
Thoughts?
One of the toughest ties we could have got. When it
They've
came out, I remember a lot of Hibs fans were saying that's a really good draw for us, and I was thinking, uh, one, we've a terrible record there. Martindale loves playing against Hibs because they're just big hammer throwers, and they just always seem to get that horrible goal off someone's head or whatever. And no matter how well we play, they always seems to get a result against Hibs. I'd feel a lot more confident if it was at Easter Road, but that pitch
Hmm.
coming off the Thursday night, whether it's a positive or negative result, you're then going away to Livy for an absolute battle. They've started really well this
Yeah, but
season as well.
apparently they were excellent
Yeah,
yesterday against Falkirk.
they've recruited very well. So this is going to be a very, very, very tough test for us, and I just hope the players are ready for it when it comes. I think we'll go through. I think we will beat Livy, but it's going to be an absolute battle, and it wouldn't surprise me if we go out as well, Stuart, to be honest.
Yeah, especially if I mean you mentioned it earlier that, or sorry, I asked you the question that Hibs might drop points in a few games, and you could well actually one of them's in the cup. And I didn't bring it up then, but I thought, well, actually one of the things that might come from being in Europe is an early knockout from a cup competition. And
Right?
we had the embarrassment of that being Falkirk, who, went on to prove that they were obviously a good team last season, but we shouldn't be losing to Falkirk in the cup.
Yeah.
That happened to us last season. So no, I agree. It could. I mean, obviously, if I was being forced to put a fiver on it, I'd be putting it on Hibs because they're the better team. But it's certainly not a foregone conclusion.
It's not. And that pitch on tired legs,
Aye. Oh
not a
no.
good combo. And I think Bowie got a knock today as well. I'm just hoping it's not serious because we need to sign another big like hold up striker, a striker that can come on for the last 20 even. I think Stephen Fletcher's available, a guy like that could come in for tw the last 20 minutes a game when Bowie tires, hold it up, be physical, and still give us that presence, that focal point. Because when Bowie goes, we don't have it, and the ball just keeps coming back. So I hope we are looking at that because we're going to need it.
And I mean, he's a good player, and obviously, great connections to Hibs. But he was a player I always really rated. There was a load of youngsters came through, and he was a wee bit after the Riordan and O'Connor era, but he was just a bit more sensible than them. Uh, Maybe I'd argue they had more ability, although Fletcher I do think has a lot of ability. I think he's a very good player. But do you remember he was linked to Real Madrid at one point, Stephen Fletcher? A good player, but that was always a good laugh.
Yeah.
I would argue the one tie you could have had that was trickier than Livingston away was St Mirren away, which is what Hearts have got. And rather than trying to one up you there, I'm sure you'd agree
Oh, I'd agree. I'd agree. The way to St Mirren's horrible.
I mean, Robinson, he's a good manager. There was a part of me would have taken him at Hearts.
Mm.
Obviously, I'm delighted with how it's gone. Um, but yeah, no, St Mirren, admittedly, a fairly average start to the season from them so far. But again, I think we're better than them. We've shown that we can go to Dundee United and win today. We don't have any, well, I was going to say we don't have any distractions midweek. We've got a bounce game against Ross County, but that's more for the likes of James Wilson and the new guy Magnuson, a couple of other new signings to get some minutes in their legs. I don't think there'll be many, if any, first teamers.
Shankland.
Shankland full 90. So yeah, but that aside, no major distractions midweek. I would like to think that a fully focused, yet to be seen and fully fit Hearts team go to St Mirren, they should win. And even when we were quite poor last season, we actually did go there and beat them in the Scottish on penalties. So even if it wouldn't surprise me if that's what it took again, because they'll be stuffy, they'll be hard to break
Mhm.
down, they'll be physical.
They pose a threat as well. They score goals.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I'd almost give it the same analysis you're giving it for Livingston, albeit for
Mm.
different reasons.
Mm.
Um, but I'm sure if you were offered a scrappy penalty shoot victory right now, you'd probably take it.
I take it.
Which
Take it right
that's
now.
what
Just
cups are
get
all about.
get get in the next round.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. All right, so fair enough. Lots of nice football to look forward to. We're both saying it's going to be absolutely rotten games away to stuffy teams.
I actually think the Hearts and Mirren game will be a decent game.
It'll be a good one to watch. I think
Yeah.
if you weren't really into football, it'd be rubbish to watch.
No,
But,
no.
but when you quite like like tactics and whatever else, it'll be a good watch. I'm undecided if I'm going to go through yet or not, but I'll see.
So you're backing Hearts to go through that, are you?
Yeah, yeah, I'd say so, but it's very similar to yourself.
Yeah.
Rather than saying we'll cruise it, like it did say against Aberdeen,
Mm,
and it was fairly justified in
mm.
saying that. I think this will be closer to Dundee United than it will be to Aberdeen.
I think again, no scoreline apart from if one side hammers the other would really surprise me. It
Yeah.
wouldn't surprise me if St Mirren do go through, but if someone was to offer me a tenner to decide, I would say Hearts have the momentum right now. I would back Hearts to go through, but I think again it's going to be a battle.
Well, folks, you heard it here first. Get your money on a Hearts and Hibs double next week. Robert and I are never wrong with our
Yeah,
predictions, so get the mortgage on it.
that's it, the lot.
But all joking aside, I suppose we're wrapping up for this week. Just a big thanks for everyone that's been subscribing and things like that to the podcast. If this is your first time watching it, we'd love for you to subscribe. We're nearly at 100, which I don't know if that's any good or not. We're too old to know what any of that stuff means. But it's been a good laugh, getting good engagement, getting
Yeah,
recognised in Denmark and things
yeah.
like that. So thanks everyone and likes and subscribes would be great.
I just wanted to say as well on the last pod, I forgot a very important thing. It was wishing Hibs 150th birthday,
Yes.
and they actually share a birthday with my daughter Naomi.
Ah, brilliant.
So that was pointed out by my wife. So
Oh, Rob,
that
that's schoolboy
that
era.
that I forgot to mention that. I was like, how could I forget that? But yeah, I'm mentioning it now, so that's a nice bit of history.
Well, I'll finish on a thank you. I know we've been bantering back and forward about these Oasis gigs in Edinburgh, but you actually inspired me a bit, Robert, with your ticket story in Denmark. I stood outside Murrayfield last night with a sign saying tickets wanted, because long story short, with scammers all around Edinburgh.
Yeah.
But I got a ticket within 10 minutes at a very reasonable price to get in. So thanks to your man, was it Vince?
Vince gets the credit for that as well.
Vince gets the assist for
Yeah,
the Oasis gig last night.
there
And
you go. There you go.
cheers,
Great
Vince.
done.
Right, folks, we'll see you next week with Hearts and Hibs in the next round of the League Cup.
See you later.